Hello again. So, I just noticed my neighbor is mowing his yard and I'm very disappointed, but the show must go on. We're going to, I think you probably won't hear it as much as I do. If he starts using his leaf blower, we might have a problem. But so let's try to get through this lesson. This lesson is kind of a side note to our series on music theory for guitar. I want to make sure you know everything in this lesson is not necessary for you to understand. I'm going to kind of go up into the stratosphere a little bit. It might seem that way if you're a beginner, an absolute beginner. But I just want to tie in some important things we're doing to the future. So you know these are really important things that we can build on and will help you a lot as you progress. And I want to make sure if anything just seems like, oh, I don't get it, or if it seems hard to understand, just know that like you could totally skip this lesson and be fine. You don't need to understand anything in this lesson to be able to take the next couple of lessons and do your well-tempered work. This is just, I went through the first 6 and I noticed a couple things I said I was going to do that I didn't do yet. And I told you I was going to tell you about mini scales and the magic and how useful mini scales can be for us. And I also told you that I would share a song with you that I wrote that has that interval of fourths in it a lot. So that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to go on with just a couple more lessons, really easy, a couple lessons after this, easy to understand, easy to do, and you'll be fully prepared to, you'd be a really good jumping off place to understand your well-tempered work. When you do the well-tempered work, everything we just talked about is going to make even more sense. So anyway, let's talk about thirds. One cool thing about mini scales is that you can easily find the 3. You might have heard people talk about the 3 or the third in a chord or the third in the scale. And you don't have to memorize these things. It's someday you might want to memorize that in the key of D, the third is F sharp. But because you're playing guitar, you can go ahead and play it. You don't have to know that yet. Let's play your open 4th string happens to be a D. So let's play that. And you've been playing mini scales, so you know how to play a mini scale. So this is 1, 4th string open is 1, 2, 3. 1st degree, 2nd scale degree, 3rd scale degree. So you know where your 3rd is now. And so if you wanted to put this note into your music, you know, this 3rd is pretty magical. I especially love this 3rd in particular. Let me show you something. This is a song that I love. That is the introduction to Ships by Michael Lilly, and I think Tom Kimmel helped to write that too. I'm going to put a link to that in the description so you can hear the whole song. It's really great. One of the best songs. One of my favorite songs. So that's, and you can find your 3rd all over the place. Wherever you have a 1, you know how to play 2 and 3. And so that can help you later on when you need to know where your 3rd is. It's important for improv. And actually, by the way, I will say for beginners, I think improv is really great. Just learning to improvise with a few notes, which, let's see, I'm going to show you that in a minute. And let's see. Yeah. As soon as these theory lessons are done, just a couple more theory lessons, I'm going to start teaching you the names of notes and some really simple beginner improv. And know when you're improvising, it can be really handy to know where the 3rd is what I'm trying to say, because it's a really nice note to kind of rest on and spend some extra time on the 3rd. It's that's where all the magic is, really. And we'll talk more about that later. Let's, the 3rd is something you can use for changing your chords around. For example, I'm going to make an A chord. There's different ways of making A. Don't worry if you don't know how to make A yet. But if you've watched the Gateway Chord series, we talk about how this note right here is the 1. We talk about how chords are made, and when I say 1, 3, and 5, that'll make more sense to you if you watch the Gateway Chords. This is the 1, this is the 3, this is the 5. So if you know that's the 3, and you want to play A major, and then if I pick up this finger and I put my index finger down, I've lowered that note. I've basically gone from that spot to that spot. See what I mean? With my fingers out of the way, so you can see I'm just going from here to here. That can be a very nice thing to play your major chord, lower the 3, and then go on to your next chord. Oh, you know what? That was a 4-to-1 relationship too. This is an A chord, this is an E chord. If we're in the key of E, A is the 4 chord. So this is the major 4 chord, and then by moving my 3rd a half step lower, I have a minor 4 chord. Back to my 1. That's a nice trick. Okay, when we get into improvisation, like say I'm in the key of C, and you want to know, you may or may not know this note, right? Well, you might make C like this. I make it like this a lot, but this note right here is a C. And so when your friends are playing a C chord, you could play around with your major mini. All 3 of these notes will sound really good when they're playing their C chord. One thing I really like about the major mini is once you play 1, 2, and 3, remember how the next note is a half step? So if you want to get to the next note, if you are already comfortable with your major mini, that's just one more note. Another cool thing, since the next note is a half step, that 3 is a good one to bend. Let's see. We talked about how you don't have to memorize what the 3rd is. I mean, someday you might want to do that, but if you haven't done it yet, you can find your 3rd by playing a major mini. You don't have to understand how to do this yet. I just want you to see how these mini chords can do a lot for us. Let's talk about putting 2 major minis together. Remember, and this is something that can make it really easy to feel comfortable using your whole scale. I really think it's important when, if you're improvising, don't worry about playing all the notes in the scale. Just learn 3 or 4 or 5, but maybe just 3. And see, where am I pointing? Okay, so this is, I'm looking at both of these. See how, I guess we've already learned how our major scale starts out with a major mini. And we learn to recognize that this major mini is the same shape as this major mini. Even though this one starts at the nut, it's the same pattern as this one, okay? And now, I want you to look what happens next. So if, say I'm playing a scale, do, re, mi. Look what happens next, another major mini. So that's an easy way of memorizing most of your scale. Major mini, start a half step higher, another major mini. Let me draw some highlights around that. So everybody's brain is different, but rather than memorize, I have a half step between 3 and 4 and I have a half step between 7 and 8, you can just memorize I have 2 major minis and they're right next door to each other. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. And if you can find that many notes in your scale, it's not going to be that much harder to find these 2. Let's see. 2 major minis together. We can use a similar trick with the minor minis and minor scales. Okay. I want to make sure you know that you can make lots of music with just those first 3 notes. Let's see what key. I'm going to play song key of E. Let's I think I'm going to play it here so it's easier to see. This is an E chord. That you might not know this yet, but soon you'll know that that's an E note. And if I play a mini scale, I want to do it here. I could do it there, but I want to make sure it's easy to see. 1, 2, 3. I played a little bit of this song the other day. And I want you to see how much music you can get out of just those 3 notes. Do you recognize it? What a field day for the heat. See, that's the melody I was playing. A lot of almost that whole song is just the, and then at one spot they go. So guess what? That one note that was a little bit higher, that's your 4th. Here was the mini scale one more time just to make sure it's easy to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going round. I found that, I think it was on Chordify. You might enjoy it, and I'll put a link to that in the description if I can find it again. So there's some cool stuff about major minis. I'm gonna run out of time pretty soon. Let me just show you the song. I might have started this the other day. This is a song I wrote that has a lot of 1 and 4 in it. I think I'll just not use the pick. I think that might sound better. Remember, G is 1, then C is 4. She had the time. She gave me time. She dried the time. She grew in her own backyard. She and Dad ate out for biscuits and for breakfast. They had jelly on their biscuits. She put my time little jelly jar. And I'm going to try to squeeze this in, and then I go A minor, C, and then it rocks back and forth from C. I mean, that was F, C, F, C. So we have that relationship of a 4th again. Remember, C and F is a 4th. And you can hear the whole song in the link. It's a recording when Hamp and I performed at the Austin Acoustical Cafe. And if you find the other recordings made there, this is a new set. I like the older ones better. You'll figure out this one they have a split screen. And this particular song came out okay, but some of the others, there was something funky in the timing. I don't know how to say it. But I think you'll like listening to time there. Let's see. So like I said before, there's just, don't worry about anything that was confusing or seemed over your head. The point of this lesson was just to show you that the mini scales can help us a lot as we go forward. And 4ths are magical, and there's some links, like I said, in the description. 2 more lessons that are really easy, and then I'm going to start posting, then you'll be ready to understand well-tempered work, and I'm going to start teaching you a fun, easy way to learn your notes. So have fun, and I'll see you next time.